Thank you for joining us this afternoon for another edition of Weekend Central on TV3, also live on DSTV channel 279. My name is Hamwajuman. My name is Godwin Asidiwa, leading the bulletin this noon. Taguba has described the reasoning of the 5 Supreme Court judges in the vacant seat case as purely political. Also coming up, some cocoa farmers in communities within Adanse Asokwa district of Ashanti region witnessing growth in yields after they were introduced to climate-smart cocoa agroforestry. Our National Labour Commission summoned striking teachers and educational workers union table to a meeting on November 20, 2024. Many thanks for joining us. The bulletin starts right here, right now. Don't forget, we're live on DSTV channel 279, also streaming across all our social media platforms on TV3 Ghana. Let's begin now. Some cocoa farmers in some communities within Adanse Asokwa districts of the Ashanti region have begun to see growth in yields after they were introduced to climate-smart cocoa agroforestry. The intervention has not only increased their revenue, but also helped reduce the emission of greenhouse gases, thus saving the environment. My colleague Ibrahim Abubakar has been to some of the farms and joins us for more on this. Ibrahim, how is this impacting on cocoa farmers' activities?
Well, Grace, it is doing so positively because, like you said, they are recording increase in yields. You know, per expert or cocoa board research, at least if you go by all the good agronomic practices, a yield or an acre of cocoa farm should get you not less than 8 bags. But these are farmers who are getting between 2 to 3 bags the entire year on an acre or even 2 acres. And now with the introduction of this, some are getting 10 bags and even more. It means they are also seeing increase in their revenue or income. And now it is just simple. So it is a project by KNUST and funded by the Danish government and together with researchers from Denmark and other institutions. So they are just taking the cocoa farmers how to go about even producing their own compost. And this is something you do not necessarily have to buy anything. So they are using their own cocoa husk, the leaves, sand and water to form this compost. And one, it's not only about even increasing the yields, but these are fertilizers that even reduce greenhouse gas emission. And for that matter, it is also protecting the environment. So most of the cocoa farmers have been taken through this, and it is something that Cocoa Board has also observed, and they said they will ensure that they replicate it across the country so that going forward as a country, we will be able to get our target of cocoa production and also put smiles on the faces of these cocoa farmers, because we know that fertilizers are also even expensive these days. So if they're able to do their own fertilizers, at least it will reduce that cost for them to get more in their pocket. And some of the researchers, Juan Joseph Fanoche, has been speaking to us on the impact and importance of this research to the economy and also cocoa farmers as a whole.
Fertilizer application alone has a lot of negative effects on the environment. Now, this is an environment-friendly fertilizer which will have a lot of benefit. For example, it will improve the nutrient structure, the soil structure. It will improve microbial activities, that is the soil microorganism. And in addition, it will also improve yield. Again, we are all, as researchers, we are all doing our best to combat climate change. So with this, its ability to improve soil structure, it will also help reduce the emission of gases, especially the 3 major ones: carbon dioxide, nitrous oxides, and methane. We are trying to, 1, improve the soil structure using the materials from farmers' field. 2, We are also trying to improve their yield, and at the same time, we are trying to help reduce the impact of climate change on our cocoa farms.
At a time where the price of cocoa has also been increased, this is good news for these farmers. Talk to us what the long-term plan is.
Well, exactly, they are excited by it because it means more money in their pockets and less money they even spend on their cocoa production. Because if you're able to put together your own compost, it means the money you'll be using to buy the fertilizer will remain in your pocket. And now, cocoa per bag 3,100. It means from 2 bags to 10 bags. It means they will be getting more. Like I said, Cocoa Board says they will try and replicate it to other areas so that it helps the country in general. But I spoke with some of the farmers, some of the beneficiary farmers, Isaac Akono, who has been sharing how this project or this intervention has been beneficial to you.
My hands in the 3 and 4, but maybe you will. Since you are feeling quite from September, but year, many 5. And the young Kosi nurse here, April, now Cocoa Besana. There's the metron bear 10, but maybe there was you cry. We second phase Besang Abba. And now could be your grounds and not a bang the no unyes come fanto. Well, margin says I have not go 500. Over top fertilizer 2.4 for 1 acre. Now 500 and send us to the door. Where's the man talking? Now, work anymore to win ye pa. And then it is a win is a queer for any John or Moya. A boy and more. Oh, mocha.
Well, you heard a farmer testifying to the benefits of this new intervention, agroforestry, introduced into the cocoa sector. Ibrahim, thank you for bringing us those updates. It's good news for all the cocoa farmers. And at a time where there's been a lot of concerns raised about the quality of Ghana's cocoa, I think this is the right way to go. Ibrahim is my colleague in the Ashanti region.
Allow me to switch your mood a little to a rather sad incident in the eastern region. The tragic death of a 26-year-old midwife on the Ekuapem-Mampong highway left her colleagues at the Tetekwashi hospital reeling with grief. Ruth Nerte was fatally struck by a speeding vehicle as she was leaving work right in front of the Tetekwashi hospital. My colleague Yvonne Nikwe has been following this development and joins me with details on the back of that. We know that on that particular stretch, Yvonne, quite a number of people, especially patients, have been knocked down right in front of the facility. Now, we know that the staff of the hospital have demonstrated whilst the call for speed ramps in front of the facility. Has that been done?
Well, exactly as you have explained, quite a number of pedestrians, patients, and health workers have been knocked on that street. They tell me throughout this year, about 6 of them were knocked down. But the midwife's own was a fatal one because her life has been lost. Both the hospital have lost a resource person and they have lost a beloved one. Now they protested for road ramps and a walkway to ensure that this incident doesn't happen again. We do know that the Ghana Highway Authority has provided them with road strips, but they're saying that in as much as this intervention is reducing the speeding of the vehicle, unfortunately, it is not totally a solution to them.
But have they been able to put any measures in place to ensure that vehicles that ply that stretch will be able to at least drive slowly? Because you stand in the facility and you see drivers passing through recklessly. Have they been able to address that situation?
Unfortunately, Godwin, we haven't had that coming. Like I said, beyond the road strips that have been provided by the Ghana Highway Authority before and after the demonstration, we haven't seen the MPTU or anybody on that street pushing the drivers to speed down or probably going more beyond that. Of course, you've seen the road signage as well to caution the drivers, but the indiscipline on that street, unfortunately, is becoming rampant and incessant. The health workers are really tired of the situation. They're afraid that more lives could be lost, especially when they are in the hospital serving people. The hospital, if we do know, just by the stretch on the highway, and that is strategic enough to save lives. But unfortunately, those saving lives are losing their lives at this moment.
Letting the family know that she's on her way back home, and then this unfortunate thing happens. This loss is more than huge. Work has not been the same, and I don't think it will be the same. There is more to be done. This is not what we requested for. It's just like pushing the food on the table. This is what you asked for, so they just brought it. But this will not do. Just this morning, several cars have sped over it. Whatever they did has worn off. And the cars have resumed their old habits. The drivers, they are overtaking and doing the old things.
And the little intervention they have done has slowed down the speed of the passing vehicles. But we think there is more to be done. The aspiring MP, Honorable Samia Uku, has also promised that he will make sure that a footbridge is constructed to eliminate total knockdown of staff and patients of the institution. You slow down 50 kilometers approaching a city or a town. We have done this, but those with the four-wheel and other big vehicles, they are still speeding on.
You're really grieving indeed. But Yvonne, has she been laid to rest yet?
Well, as I speak to you, the final funeral rite is ongoing at Doyum in the Greater Accra region. She would be laid probably after I speak to you this midday.
Right, Yvonne Ikwe, thank you so much for those details. But on that particular stretch in the eastern region, not just in front of the Tetekwashi Hospital, along the stretch going all the way to some of the communities, the roads are terrible, and they've been, having some road crashes on that stretch, and I think it's something that should be attended to immediately.
Well, let's move to other stories now. The coalition of unemployed veterinary graduates have accused the Ministry of Food and Agriculture for alleged illegal sale of slots meant for the 2019-2020 batch of graduates following clearance by the Finance Minister to employ 200 of their members. The group at a press conference in Tamale urged the Agric Minister to immediately abort the recruitment process and institute an investigation into the matter. Christopher Mako is my colleague in the region. He has been interacting with the coalition. Let's speak to him. I'm curious, what exactly are the concerns of these unemployed veterinary graduates?
Yes, so there was clearance for some 200 of the over 2,000 unemployed veterinary graduates to be employed. Even though they welcome this decision, but they feel that the numbers is inadequate to be able to make up their numbers that have been sitting since 2019 coming to today. And so all they wanted was to see more of their members being given clearance to be employed. But one unfortunate thing is that according to them, even though the number is not encouraging, but they still see some alleged staff of the Ministry of Agriculture doing some protocol picking of these unemployed graduates. Most of them, we are told that have gotten their slots through some protocol officers at the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. So they are worried that even though the slots are not enough, but the personnel from the Ministry of Food and Agriculture are still using other dubious means to enroll some of their colleagues, which they believe that is not right. And so they want the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, especially the minister, to halt the issuance of appointment letters to people who go in the name of protocol, but to follow the due process to be able to post some of the 200 people who have been given clearance for them to employ. They have actually been expressing their dissatisfaction with that move. Let's take a listen to what they've been saying.
Of the entire population of the unemployed veterinary graduates, we have today, on the 16th November 2024, stands before the media to deliver this statement in regards to the current recruitment scandal at the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, Mofa Veterinary Service Department. In August 2024, a statement which was released to we the unemployed veterinary graduates, stating that clearance of 200 slots were given to Ministry through the finance minister to employ graduates from the completed batches from 2017 to 2020 was something the Honorable Agri Minister Branch Achampo promised and fulfilled. As we were waiting for this recruitment to begin, as scheduled, leadership from the group made follow-up to the ministry and a set date was given to when the recruitment begins, but it came to our notice that there is a scandal of selling of jobs at the office of the Human Resource Directorate at MOPA, which we do not hear about in date. But some were selected and were given the appointments through standard protocol at the ministry, which is unfair. We, the entire group, a 98% have not received any appointment, but was rather selling it to other sectors. So we engage the media to bring out our grievances to the general public about the happening at the ministry, which is unwell for unemployed.
Well, so you heard some of the concerns of the veterinary graduates there. We're hoping that it gets the necessary authorities so the necessary action is taken. Let's now go to the Election Command Center.
We've now arrived at your Election Command Center. Welcome. The presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party, the NPP, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has assured the people of the Faith Church International at Abripo in the Ashanti region that he will set up a pilgrimage authority to support interfaith groups. He stated that the pilgrimage, authority will facilitate the travel of Christians and Muslims to Israel and Mecca to pray for the country. Meanwhile, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has promised to consider faith-based organizations as development partners if he wins power. It's time now to connect with my colleague Daniel Opoku, who has been with the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party on tour. Daniel, thank you so much for your time. How has members of the church been reacting to the promises by the flag bearer of the NPP?
Right, so good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to you, Asidibab. The Vice President and NPP flag bearer today went to the True Chapel, True Church International, where the members themselves were extremely happy for seeing some of them for the first time were catching glimpse of the Vice President and also the NPP flag bearer. So the whole church was, and also it coincided with their prayer fasting period where the Vice has personally visit the church and he made a donation outside to the church. And most importantly, he told them, they spoke to them about the need to set up a pilgrimage authority, which will include the authority facilitating the travels of both Muslims to Mecca and also Christians to Israel. That's one cardinal. And most importantly, also considering the Christian or the Islamic community and also the Christian community as development partners when he wins power. I.e., for instance, when they are to import materials, equipment for any developmental project, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has renewed his commitment to ensure that they are given some kind of flexibility when it comes to the payment of duty as compared to foreign partners. That's what he told the people, and currently has moved from that place to Asante Achim South to engage with the stakeholders and later engage in what we call the Bawumia Connect before close of day today. Today has only one constituency to be present.
Right, Daniel, I mean, one might be concerned, how will the aiding of Christians and Muslims to Israel and Mecca aid to the development of the country, looking at the economic situation at the moment, focusing and paying attention to the mood of the people whilst the flag bearer of the NPP was speaking? Do you think it is something that would really convince them to vote for him coming December 7?
They were extremely happy with what the Vice President said, because a lot of them, especially their leaders and also the church members themselves, have been wanting to travel to Israel. And interestingly, it is not the only place that the Vice President has been talking about this. Almost in all his engagement with the stakeholders, the traditional leaders, the clergy and the Muslim clergy, he has re-emphasized or re-echoed this particular point to set up a pilgrimage authority. They have received that with open heart, and they are extremely happy with this particular decision because they are of the view that the Muslim community consistently have been getting the support from government to travel to Mecca. So to the extent that we didn't have the Hajj village. The reason the Vice President is proposing this particular initiative, and when he wins power, obviously he is going to support Christians also travel to Israel or support the country in prayers. With the issue about with the current economic conditions, Dr. Manu Abia is a firm commitment that he has a new strategy that he will deploy to be able to set up the pilgrimage authority. So obviously there will be funding from other quarters to support that. According to Dr. Baum, that will not be a problem in case he's able to put together the pilgrimage authority.
Na Christopher omutimi ko Israel said Tramofo omutimi ko Mecca. Yes. The Shisha Pilgrimage Authority na ya boa Christopher so na ye sofo na de no mutimi akọ Israel abompa de bia ama Ghana. Nsema ekoso ewo Ghana yesi LGBTQ+. Say, Mema to me, what a mema and ma to me, what a man, I said no. Embasunda. Yen Peninsula, Yen Peninsula, Yen Peninsula, Yen Peninsula, and me Bible no. Yamen Pesadi no. And Yen Peninsula, Yen Belgina 20. Esano Embasunda Monka. Makuma million Sanoya Nanambano so. Yes, let us say Boa churches, Muya Puntu Juma Baby, but Munyamwa and free and buying ho. Bibia Moya, Namato collection at the aye. But a brofui Bagana, so Mobile Puntu Juma, Mobile School, and answer Mobile Hospital. Intrumudi, if you didn't answer material be a bagana,
Clearly see the excitement written all over their faces. Well, we'll live to see if this shall come to pass or not. Daniel Opoko, thank you so much for those details.
Let's go to the quarters of the NDC because its presidential candidate, John Dramani Mahama, is expected to wrap up the final phase of his Northern Regional campaign, focusing on 3 NPP strongholds. It will be recalled that the NDC flag bearer suspended his campaign of the Northern Region 2 days after he commenced after persistent calls on him to attend the National Peace Campaign in Accra. Komla Kluche is a man with his team, and he joins us from the Western North region, where John Mahama is on the final day of campaigning. For more on this, Komla, what is necessitating this move to the Northern region again?
You would recall, Grace, that just like you did say in the intro, the plan of the NDC was to have John Mahama campaign, in the entire all the constituencies in the northern region, but at the point in time it was cut short just because of the fact that he had to be beckoned to attend that peace campaign, which was under the auspices of the Christian Council, the National Chief Imam's Office, and the National Pentecostal Council. John Mahama lamented just a day after that of the commitment of Dr. Baumia and the president himself, because the assurance he had from the organizers was that these two personalities, in addition to himself, would be attending. But then they were not, they didn't attend in person, but had representations. Dr. Baumia was represented by his running mate, Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh, and the president was also represented by the Minister for Chieftaincy and Cultural Affairs, Stephen Asamoah Boateng. John Mahama lamented quite much about it, but said, well, his personal attendance was as a result of the commitment of him to ensuring there's lasting peace in the country before, during, and after the December 7 election. And so he has to return back. But he was bashed severally on social media, especially by some assigns of the MPP, that he has fled the northern region because he felt those 3 constituencies, that is Gushegu, Mion, and Karaga, are not a friendly environment to him. But he is indicating that, well, it's not out of the blue, but it was his commitment to the lasting peace. However, he's returning to do this because of the plans. The days are really inching up, and so he has to go back and then make sure he covers that part. And so the team just arrived in the northern region. Just today ended the final day of the Western Regional Tour, Western North Regional Campaign, and just arrived in the northern region to campaign for the last phase of the northern region, which would be Gushegu, Mion, and Karaga. Only 3 constituencies. He's covered every other one, in exception of this one, where the focus will be heavily on, because he believes, for instance, the Gushegu seat looks a bit shaky according to polls, that he believes firmly that with the plans the NDC has in place, he'll be able to win that seat for the party and the presidential, the parliamentary candidate as well.
That's like you said, John Mahama has moved to the northern region, but whilst he was in the Western North region, what was his campaign message and the reaction from the people?
Great. The Western North region, you recall, I mean, it's a place that's heavily invested when it comes to timber, cocoa, and part also rice. I mean, a huge chunk of the food basket is from the Western North region as well. But it's a place that equally has mining ongoing. But the focus of John Mahama was on the issue of job creation, was on the issue of the construction of roads. He spoke about the cocoa roads that in 2017 government suspended. When he lost power, government suspended it primarily to have an investigation or an inquest done into this. Up to date, 8 years down the line, no adverse finding has been made against any official. He laments why the government would do that. If indeed they really wanted construction of roads in this part of the country, it was incumbent on them to allow it, but it was purposely planned to take care of it because of the huge amount of money invested when it comes to road construction. So he talked about roads. He also talked about the establishment of universities in this 6 newly created regions. Western North is a part of it. He has made a firm commitment that yes, the 6 new regions would have a university each under his next and final administration. But he's equally been talking about the maladministration of the NPP. Just yesterday, he took a date at the president over the issue of the statue. But he's been talking about the campaign style of the NPP currently, where he said in the final lap of the Nanado administration, it appears that they are hoodwinking, not that it even appears. He said he has evidence that they are hoodwinking the people to vote for them, and the style and manner in which they're doing it is quite insulting. Let's listen to what exactly he's been saying regarding the MPP campaigning and their strategy.
Na sa sika no kakra no mo yi na ye de betoyen 500 cedis 1000 cedis 500 cedis 1000 cedis ni abema ebi mo co-pot ebi abema obokti ebi abema Maggi cube ebi nso abema emo oti anye ya ma sebe bentwa Eza obi baka se media agro eno anajo me ko bodi ko bisa omo bento anyina aka ho ezu na nipa wundidi ya sebe oye dancer e comedy ye say oye dancer ezu enti abatu ebe omo de sa nyoma ni beba na baby asa sika ni fi no ebi da so ho bebre enti emma omon price wo wa wujina hey uye nipa nyame abode ebo bia ntimi nto enso enyoma omode ba no eye musika na omode toye enti obi ede usika to ade na ode brewa obeden obeje enti bibi om de bebe bia mode monje.
NDC presidential candidate John Dramani Mahama telling the people to resist the NPP party that is engaging in vote buying. Kamala Klute, thank you for bringing us those updates. We'll come back to you when he begins his Northern Regional campaign tour.
The constituents in Bole Bamboy have promised to give the NDC flag bearer John Dramani Mahama 90% of the votes that would be cast on December 7, 2024. The Member of Parliament for the area, Yusuf Suleimana, said this when the NDC vice presidential candidate Jenano Pokwajaman took her campaign tour to the constituency. My colleague Evelyn Tingma reports.
Professor Jenano Pokwajaman and the team were warmly received to the Bole Bamboy constituency, the hometown of the NDC flag bearer John Dramani Mahama. Now, the team first of all paid a courtesy call on the Bolera Palace, where a representative of the chief was there to welcome them.
This visit that we are making here as a mopping up of the campaign to make sure that the last few days of an ordinary citizen will spend it here. 4 weeks after that, will be in a different capacity as the Vice President of Ghana.
Later at a gathering, Professor Jenano Pokwajaman and the former National Chairman Samuel Ofosu Ampofo, as well as the Member of Parliament for Bole Bamboy, Yusuf Suleimana, addressed a charged crowd.
Let nobody come and tell those fancy stories about coming to cancel the free SHS. The way the free SHS is being implemented now cannot be good, and we know that. We don't want our children to go to school for 3 weeks and come and stay at home for 3 months. What kind of education is that? All those doing that, is that how they went to school? If they did that, would they have learnt anything? So why do they want our children to go through that? This is a serious matter. So let nobody come and tell us fancy stories. We are not in the mood for that.
President John Dramani Mahama does not want to come back because he's interested in becoming a president again, but because he has an unfinished agenda, and that unfinished agenda is that he wants to take Ghana from this level to a higher level. In terms of education, in terms of infrastructure, we call him the infrastructure king. And when I traversed on this road, and I saw even manholes, I asked myself, Baumia and Akufo-Addo, they have wasted 8 years of our time. What this country has reached, we don't need a driver's mate. The driver himself, who said Somalia, and we gave him Ghana, he has run Ghana into a ditch.
Bole Bamboy is secured. Bole Bamboy, we have set our own records in 2020, and we are determined to break the records. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama's 80% is not enough. So I want to tell Her Excellency that this year's election, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama will not take anything less than 90% from this constituency. And as for me, far from being complacent, the gentleman who is contesting me, my special assistant, will defeat him. And so I have realized that there is a need for me to go beyond just Bole Bamboy. And like I reported earlier on, I went around the Savannah region, and I can report with confidence that the NDC is taking the 7 seats in Savannah region. I know the media will ask me, does this include Damango? Damango is a foregone conclusion.
Evelyn Tinkma, TV3 News, Bole.
The election season is here and December 7 is lurking around the corners. The day will be in soon, and trust us, here at Media General, we are poised to bring you a comprehensive, fearless and transparent coverage of the elections coming December 7, 2024. You're still tuning to Weekend Central here on TV3. My name is Godwin Asidiba. We are back shortly, right after this break. Stay with us.
Dr. Baumia once said,
Welcome back. This is Weekend Central on TV3, and we're also live on DSTV channel 279. Let's do a lot more stories now. The National Labour Commission, NLC, has summoned the Teachers and Educational Workers Union, TEU, to a meeting on November 20, 2024. This follows TEU's notice of an indefinite strike effective Monday, November 18, 2024, over the prolonged delay in concluding, signing and implementing conditions of service for Ghana Education Service, Ghana Museums and Monuments Board, and Public Technical and Universities. A statement signed by Director in charge of Administration and Human Resources at the National Labour Commission, Dr. Bernice Welbeck, noted that the NLC is exercising its powers pursuant to Section 139 of the Labour Act 651, which directs parties to appear for hearing on the issues in dispute. The NLC directed TEU to thus stay the internet strike action. And we have the General Secretary of TEU joining us, King James Azoteba. King James, thank you for joining us on Weekend Central. So, can you elaborate on the key points of contention regarding the conditions of service for the GS staff, Ghana Monuments and Museums Board, and also for public and technical universities? What are the issues there? King James, unmute so we can hear you. We're having difficulty hearing King James, who worked the phone as well as all that needs to be done, so we're able to connect with him and have that conversation on the air and pass with the NLC. Meanwhile, a retired Supreme Court Judge, Justice William Atuguba, has described the reasoning of the 5 Supreme Court judges in the vacant seat case as purely political. Speaking on key point, the retired justice noted that, but for political considerations, the judges would not have accepted jurisdiction for the case in this first place. Justice Atuguba added that the politicization of the judiciary began some time ago, but it has now reached its peak.
In a situation like this, they don't have original jurisdiction. What they have is a jurisdiction of reference. The subject matter belongs to the High Court. And the same Article 132 makes it clear that in a situation like that, they have only reference jurisdiction. So I don't see, I don't know. That's why I'm emphasizing. And I think that at the heart of all this pretentious discussion going on, there's no true legality involved. It's just politics. That honorable type. All we are doing is the paramountcy of political partisanship. Party partisanship. That is what is controlling this country. If that is not addressed, we are just wasting our time. True law no longer will apply, where the basis of anything in this country is political, politically driven. That is the menace. I agree with Martin Kwebu's observations along these lines. That is a fundamental matter. Unless it's arrested, this menace, this vice will continue to fester, and constitutionalism will be subverted. Paid lip service to people's suffer. In other words, we are not entitled to benefit from the constitutional order put in place for this country. That is the true situation. That's the true evil to be addressed. But that issue has been addressed by Article 132. Now, where it arises in a matter belonging to another court, the Supreme Court only comes in when an interpretation or enforcement issue arises and is referred to the Supreme Court. That is the only time they can come in. And let me say this. Those days that law was, there was fidelity to the law. And even today is reflected in their judgment, the majority judgment. Jurisdiction is a fundamental matter. So the conditions upon which your jurisdiction arises, if they are not there, you don't have the jurisdiction.
Well, let's connect again with King James Azotiba, who is General Secretary of the Teachers and Educational Workers Union, for that conversation on the impasse with the National Labour Commission. King George, if you can hear me now, we want you to elaborate on the key points of contention regarding the conditions of service for GES, Ghana Monument and Museums Board, as well as the public technical universities.
Yeah, good afternoon to you and your listeners.
Great.
Yeah, I'm on the line.
We can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So the background to our intended strike, which was effective on the 18th of November, is as a result of the over-delayed and prolonged unnecessary delay of our condition of service that has not been signed for the past 4 years. In fact, it has been a back and forth with our employers as the Ghana Education Service that are represented by the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. We are not getting their mandate to sit on the table and do the conclude the negotiations and sign so that our conditions of service can be implemented to the benefit of our members. It must be emphasized here that the condition of service is a key document of employment contract between the labor union and the employment management of our members. And this includes all the terms of employment are included in the conditions of service. The Labor Act stipulates that we should review this condition of service every 2 years. In the case of the Ghana Education Service, the last review we did was 2020, when the Honorable Napo was the Minister of Education, and the next review was supposed to be 2022. But because of this up and down frustrations that we have been going through, we are not able to review it even 2022. So the terms that existed as at 2020 is what our people are enjoying. And you can all agree with us that the economic indices of this country have changed severally. And therefore, if anybody is standing on 2020 economic terms to the benefit of our members in 2024, that is a great disservice that we are doing to our members, and they are seriously aggrieved and disappointed in us. It's leading to a lot of challenges to us. Hence, we have to do this. When we come to the universities of Ghana, and the public universities and the public technical universities, in fact, as at 2019, we had done a memorandum of understanding for about 22 items on the conditions of service. It was left with just about 2 or 3 items that brought a deadlock. And in the attempt for us to go and conclude it, we have never gotten the green light to sit on table with the management of the public universities and the public technical universities that are now under the management of GTEC. We are Ghana Library Board and Museums. We just have just one item pending for us to conclude.
King James, so if you can hear me there, NLC has directed you to stay the strike and then come for a meeting on November 20. How do you respond to this? Are you going to show up for the meeting briefly?
Surely we will attend the meeting on Wednesday.
Okay.
We will do that.
Okay, and your expectations then?
Come again, I didn't hear that.
All right, King James, that will be it. Thank you for joining us. King James Azotiba is General Secretary of TEWU. We'll come back to you on Wednesday and get the aftermath of that meeting. This is Weekend Central on TV3. We're back with more after this break. Stay with us.
Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Baumia. #1 on the ballot.
Hey, I'm here for this year's election. I hear say the ECT print the ballot papers for back. Plenty. Oh.
And how did you?
Hey, oh. Yes, sir. Where at all did you hear this feelers from? Or you get some rumors out for your phone, Tom?
Boss man. I beg, I won't do smoke on one side. Make no best. But seriously, how does the EC print out these ballot papers? Are they secure? I ask myself.
Easy. How's over tractor? My people. Oga, easy. Good morning. No, sorry to disturb you, but my brother here have some hearsay we want to confirm.
Oh, really?
They wonder how you people they print the ballot papers. I hear say people they print out plenty for back. They catch the election that you they stuff one box inside. Then they take paper your own candidate. Yes. That's fresh at all. Fresh.
How? My brother, it's not true. Ghana is one of the few countries where the Electoral Commission actually prints ballot papers within the country. Even Nigeria and Kenya, even them, they don't print their ballot papers locally. That tells you Ghana has made progress, eh?
Hey, you sure? How do you ensure it is fair and transparent?
Good question, my brother. Look, in the interest of fairness, transparency, and accountability, you have political party agents, police service, and the National Intelligence Bureau. They all observe a 24-hour vigilance on the entire process of printing and packing of ballot papers. What about the ballot papers themselves? Are they genuine? All ballot papers are printed with official serial numbers printed on them. And so if any new ballot papers show up on election day without these official serial numbers, then you know they are fake. You understand? In addition to that, you should know that immediately the ballots are printed, before they are packed, these official serial numbers are recorded for all the ballot papers that are issued to the regions, to the district, to the constituency, and to the polling station. And they are signed by all the political party representatives.
Oh, Master, it don't be true. Then if you print them secretly for night.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is impossible, my brother. It is impossible. Remember that the political party representatives, the security agencies, and the international observers are keeping a close eye 24-hour vigilance on the entire process. In fact, they have their own way of ensuring that their representatives do not even fall asleep, or they have other personnel who come to replace them, so that every second of the process is under critical surveillance. Secondly, when the printed ballot papers are to be moved to the armory, listen, the entire team is following it very, very vigilantly. In fact, they ensure that there's 24-hour surveillance on the entire process. In fact, moving it from the print house through to every region, every constituency, every district, and every police station as well. Also, remember that on election day, the Electoral Commission will show a clearly transparent empty ballot box to everyone as proof that no extra ballot papers have already been put in the ballot box. All the ballot papers that are printed, issued, used, unused, and even the spoiled ones are recorded by all the political party agents, international observers as well. So in fact, if you take the total number of ballot papers that were used and you add to that which was unused and you add to the spoiled ballots, it should be equal to the total number of ballot papers that were issued.
Hey, then this is serious work.
I tell you, my brother, this is how we ensure that the entire electoral process is fair, is transparent, and is truly accountable.
Ghana, when the ballot papers are packaged, every political party has their seal on it. Look, the process is monitored all the way. It is Frenchim. Everybody make Iredo. Nobody they sleep at all. From Kankan to Kankan, 24/7. The EC they work. 2024 elections. No libilibi, no labalaba. It be Frenchim. It be clean. No kululu.
Dr. Baumian once said,
teachers are suffering. Teacher trainees are suffering. Nurses are suffering. And nursing trainees are suffering. Patients are suffering. Students are suffering. Traders are suffering. Pensioners are suffering. Drivers are suffering. Contractors are suffering. Civil servants are suffering. And farmers are suffering. Fishermen are suffering. And industries are suffering. Artisans are suffering, and Kayaye are suffering. The disabled are suffering, and men are suffering. Women are suffering, and children and Ghanaians as a whole are suffering.
Vote John Dramani Mahama for president. Trustworthy, honest, and reliable. Vote for change. Choose the umbrella. Vote John Dramani Mahama and the NDC.
Right, it's time for us to wrap up the news. But before we do that, kindly pick up your phones and go on our social media platforms. It's 3news.gh on Instagram. We have a lot more content for you regarding the election, so you can get yourself updated in everything around that. We have sports, entertainment, business, and all that you need to know when it comes to anything news. 3news.gh on Instagram. Follow us. You don't want to miss out on the latest. Absolutely. I am also Godwin.Asideba on Instagram. I will be posting few stuff about the election as well, so you can also check on my page. You can follow me at Grace Hamasari also on Instagram. That will be all for our package for this afternoon. My name is Grace Hamuajuman. Thank you for joining us. My name is Godwin.Asideba. We are back tomorrow. Make sure you tune in and enjoy the rest of our programming. Bye-bye. See you.